I first visited this area back in the mid-80s. I came up here on a personal kayak trip and was just blown away by all the wildlife that we could view here. I was very lucky to have a family of orcas come past me. It was just such a special event for me, knowing that there's these large, charismatic animals that are out here surviving day after day, and you know, that I get to share the world with them. It was just a special moment for me. I've actually been quite involved in the application for the Whale Heritage Site accreditation for Vancouver Island North, and it's been a very helpful process. You know, it's really helped us identify some things that we're doing extremely well, but also areas that maybe we could do a little bit better in.
I think when we first found out about what a Whale Heritage Site was and what the criteria were, we thought, this is something we're doing very well already. As a whale researcher, I think the Whale Heritage Site initiative is really important because in the criteria of what it takes to become a Whale Heritage Site are things like research. You must have a good idea of what the cetacean populations in the area are. As a business owner, I'm excited about the Whale Heritage Site initiative because it has the opportunity to bring more people to the area, but it'll only do so if we continue to do whale watching here in a responsible way.
So there's a lot of ways that people can go viewing whales. You can do a 3-hour whale watching boat. You can go out for a day on a sailboat. You can go out on a rib. I love kayaking. It's a very low impact way of viewing wildlife. What I find really special about it is you're really viewing the whales on their terms. You're at the water level. You're going slow. You're going quiet. When you have no boat noise, it's just you and your kayak. It's just a more, it's a more emotional experience. Watching the whales in a responsible manner, giving them lots of space, making sure that they go about their natural behavior, you know, in the end, that's going to provide a better experience for our guests. And it's going to make whale watching here last for years and years and years. You know, when I first started kayaking here 18 years ago, it was a very special event if we got to see one humpback whale in an entire season. Now, we often see multiple humpback whales every day. Their population has really come back from, you know, back in the 50s and 60s, they were hunted in this area. As tourism grows, it's now becoming a more important part of the North Island economy. It used to be more about fishing, logging, mining, and the sustainable tourism that has sprouted up around the marine mammals has definitely started to fill a void in the economy of the North Island.
We have been collecting marine mammal skeletons for 30 years. We've probably got about 50 skeletons now. We've got some very large ones, the fin whale that's right above us, which were the second largest of all the animals that ever lived on the planet. We've got a gray whale and a minke whale. We've got 2 killer whales, orcas now. The pygmy sperm whale, very rare, only one ever found anywhere in Canadian waters, which is pretty amazing for us. We're working on a humpback whale. In the summer months, we have a volunteer that's been working with us for the last 3 years, and she started putting that together this year. And that's a 2 or 3 year project, but in the summer it's laid out so people can watch her working and see how the exhibit all slowly comes together. I'm Jim Borrowman. I'm one of the directors of the Whale Interpretive Center here at Telegraph Cove. So because Telegraph Cove has become a bit of a mecca for the whale watching, especially the orcas and the humpback whales that are in the area now, we get people coming before and after the boat trips they go on. So it gives them a chance to come in here and see some information that tells them a lot more about some of these whales that they don't get to see quite so closely, the skeletons and a lot of pictures about different parts of the whales and educational parts, and they can ask a lot of questions that maybe come up after the trips. I think one of the highlights, it's an old wood building and it's pretty durable, and you can sort of kick it around a bit, and the young kids love it because they can actually interact much more closely with a lot of the skeletons and the bones. They can touch things and pick up a piece of baleen or the jawbone of a minke whale or something and feel how heavy it is and things like that. So it's very interactive. It's like your fingernail material. Our goal is to try to turn people on to the marine mammals that live in this area. We've got a lot of people involved. We've got some interpreters in the summer, as well as quite a few volunteers that are helping us make this place come together.
I believe Whale Heritage Site designation will really allow tourists to make an informed decision on when they're deciding where they're going to travel.
I think whale heritage sites are a great thing for people and whales because they really focus on the way that people coexist with whales in their communities. It really gets people who are not only in governments and working in tourism, education, as well as working in research and conservation, and brings a lot of these people together to kind of focus on the bigger picture.
The raven was a very mischievous person. He wanted to travel around the world. So him and the mink traveled on this great whale. Finally, at the end of their journey, they were getting tired and they ate the whale's heart. Then the whale died and they came up through the smoke hole. And this is one of our treasures that we show in our dance performances. My name's Kelvin Hunt. I'm a pole carver, but I do a lot of smaller pieces like masks. I work in silver, gold, jewelry, so I keep busy in that kind of thing. All First Nations have treasures of a whale. They're old, there's old lineage stories. Some of them are, creation stories for different villages. The Kwasala-Nakwaktuk people, their whale, they have a finback whale, which is a creation story. It transforms into a human. The finback also belongs to the Kuskimuk people, which is on the west coast side of Vancouver Island. There were many different types of poles. There was a house post, like in our big house here. Then you would have possibly, like in a village, you would have a welcoming figure to welcome the people. And at one time when there was more houses, each house would have their lineage pole with their crests on there, their family history. And then we have grave figure poles, which would only be for very high-ranking people, where we have two poles in our graveyard. That one's tribute to my father, and he's holding a copper, and he's looking down Johnson Straits, which is a place where he grew up in fishing. And the other one is my mother, and she's sitting on the back of a whale, because the New Channel thought they were whale hunters, and she's wearing a whaler's hat. So anybody that knows any kind of history of totem pole would look at that and know that that woman is a very high-ranking woman. I want to carve one more canoe. Over the years we've carved a lot of canoes, and every year there's tribal journeys. So I'd like to carve a 20-foot canoe. I want to carve a two-man canoe and I can go by myself or pick up somebody and go, paddle around, have some fun. It's probably going to take me 3 or 4 months. It's going to be just something working on the side. And carving a canoe is more passion than anything else because it's just grunt work. It's not fun.
My hope is that the sustainable whale watching we have here on the north end of Vancouver Island continues to get even better, but we're going to bring up the standard around the world on what is considered responsible, sustainable whale watching practices.